What if I told you that the secrets to wealth weren't invented by Wall Street bankers, Silicon Valley founders, or crypto millionaires, but were discovered thousands of years ago in one of the richest cities the world has ever known? That city was Babylon. Famous for its towering walls, bustling markets, and enormous riches, it was the New York City of the ancient world. And hidden inside those walls were stories of slaves who became merchants, broke workers who became wealthy lenders, and one poor scribe named Arcad, who became the richest man in Babylon. In 1926, George S. Clason collected those parables in The Richest Man in Babylon, creating a financial blueprint that's just as powerful today as it was 4,000 years ago. So if you've ever felt stuck living paycheck to paycheck or wondered why your money disappears no matter how hard you work, this book has answers. Today, we're breaking down 7 timeless lessons from The Richest Man in Babylon, with unforgettable stories, modern parallels, and truths that could change the way you save, spend, and invest. And wait until you hear the final lesson, because it's not about money at all. It's about freedom, time, and what it really means to be rich. Let's dive in. 1. Pay yourself first. Start thy purse to fattening. Our story begins with Arcad. Once, he was just like everyone else, broke, frustrated, wondering why others around him grew wealthy while he remained stuck. So he asked a moneylender, "How did you become so rich while I have nothing?" The answer was deceptively simple. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. Or as the book phrases it, for every 10 coins thou placest within thy purse, take out for use but 9. Let the 10th remain to fatten it. At first, Arcad thought, I already don't have enough? How can I possibly save? But he forced himself to put away at least 10% before spending a single coin. And over time, something magical happened. His purse grew heavy. With that money, he began to invest. This is the cornerstone of Babylon's wisdom, and it's as true today as it was then. Think about Ronald Reed, the Vermont janitor who left behind $8 million. He never had a big salary. He simply saved consistently, invested patiently, and never stopped. The world tells you, spend, flex, upgrade. Babylon tells you, save first, spend later. Wealth doesn't begin when you make more. It begins when you keep more. Saving is useless if your spending grows just as fast. That's where the second law comes in. 2. Live below your means. Control thy expenditures. Arcad warned the crowd, what we call necessary expenses will always rise to equal our incomes unless we protest. That was Babylon's version of lifestyle creep. Picture it. A man earns 10 shekels. He spends 10. Then he earns 20. And somehow he still spends 20. Does that sound familiar? Today, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Not because they don't earn enough, but because every raise comes with a bigger apartment, a nicer car, or more subscriptions quietly draining the bank account. The truth is, your desires will always grow to match your income, unless you fight back. One Babylonian chariot maker once told Arcad he could never save a single coin because every shekel is already spoken for. But when Arcad reviewed his expenses, he saw that many were luxuries disguised as necessities. The man didn't need a new cloak every season or imported wine every week. He simply lacked discipline. And that hasn't changed. The world will always tell you that you deserve more, newer, faster. Babylon tells you, control your spending or it will control you. If you can't master your money when you make little, you won't master it when you make a lot. But here's the good news. Once you've saved and controlled your spending, you don't just sit on your money, you put it to work. That's the third law of Babylon. 3. Make your money work for you. Make thy gold multiply. Arcad taught, gold labors diligently and multiplies when put to work. Saving alone is not enough. A purse filled only by wages will always feel light. Real wealth begins when your money stops sitting idle and starts working harder than you do. In Babylon, this meant lending silver to merchants who returned from distant lands with profits. Today, it means putting your money into assets that grow: stocks, real estate, businesses. Think of every dollar as a worker. $1,000 sitting in a savings account is unemployed. But invested wisely, those dollars become a factory of new dollars, each one producing children of its own. That's the quiet magic of compounding. But here's the warning Babylon gives us. Invest wisely. One man entrusted his savings to a brickmaker who promised to buy rare jewels. But the brickmaker knew nothing of jewels. When he returned, the stones were worthless glass. The man had lost everything. Arcad shook his head and said, "Would you ask a bread maker to judge jewels? No more should you trust the inexperienced to guard your treasure." How many people today fall for the same trap? Chasing meme stocks, gambling on crypto coins, or handing money to gurus who know less than they claim. The lesson is clear. Make your gold multiply, but only in ventures you understand and trust. The poor work for money. The wealthy make money work for their freedom. But multiplying your gold means nothing if you don't first build walls to protect it. That's Babylon's fourth law. 4. Protect your wealth. Guard thy treasures from loss. Babylon was famous for its towering walls. They weren't built for decoration. They were built for protection. And just like Babylon's walls defended the city, your wealth needs defenses too. Arcad warned, "Guard thy treasure from loss by investing only where thy principal is safe." In the book, men lost fortunes by lending without collateral or trusting smooth talkers who promised easy riches. One man gave his savings to a trader who claimed he could double it quickly. Instead, the money disappeared. And so did the trader. Fast forward to today, the same story repeats. From Ponzi schemes to rug pulls, from too good to be true returns to bankrupt crypto empires. Fortunes vanish because people forget Babylon's rule. Even the mighty fall. Sam Bankman-Fried once sat on a $26 billion empire. In a flash, it was gone. Wealth unprotected is wealth already lost. So what do? Build your walls. Stick to investments you understand. Avoid promises of quick riches. Seek counsel from the wise, not the greedy. Wealth isn't built by chasing big wins. It's preserved by avoiding big losses. But even if your wealth is safe, time is still your greatest enemy. Babylon's next law is about preparing for the day when you can no longer work. 5. Plan for the future. Ensure a future income. Arcad advised, "Provide in advance for the needs of thy growing age and the protection of thy family." One powerful parable is about Dabasir, the camel trader. Once he was crushed by debt, so deep in the hole he was sold into slavery. But by strict discipline, repaying creditors one coin at a time, he earned back his freedom. And he didn't stop there. Dabasir began to build wealth, not just for today, but for the years when his strength would fail and his family would depend on him. In Babylon, this meant lending gold at interest or owning land. Today, it's retirement accounts, dividend stocks, rental income, streams that keep flowing long after you stop working. Here's the math. If you start at 25 and invest just $300 a month at a 7% return, by 65, you'll have over $750,000. That's the quiet power of planting seeds early. Because whether in ancient Babylon or the modern world, one truth never changes. The day will come when you can no longer work. And when that day arrives, you'll either live off what you've built or depend on others. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. But Babylon's wisdom doesn't stop at saving for the future. It also warns against being just a consumer. True wealth is built by becoming an owner. 6. Be an owner, not just a consumer. Make thy dwelling a profitable investment. The book encourages every man to own his home. In Babylon, the logic was simple. A renter enriches his landlord, but an owner enriches himself. Now, in today's world, the rent versus buy debate is more complicated. In some cities, renting may make financial sense. But Babylon's principle is bigger than real estate. Turn expenses into assets. Maybe that means buying a home. Or maybe it means building a side business, creating digital products, or investing in assets that generate income. One Babylonian tale tells of a man who rented faithfully for years. He paid on time, never missed a coin. Yet when old age came, he owned nothing. His neighbor, who bought a modest home, ended his life with land, stability, and dignity. That lesson holds today. The consumer spends on things that fade. The owner builds wealth that lasts. Consumers buy things. Owners buy freedom. And Arcad saved the most important lesson for last. Because true wealth isn't in your purse at all. It's in your mind. 7. Invest in yourself. Increase thy ability to earn. Arcad declared, "A man's wealth is not in the purse he carries. A fat purse quickly empties if there is no stream of knowledge to replenish it." This is Babylon's ultimate law. Your greatest asset is not your gold. It's you. In ancient times, young men were urged to apprentice, to study, to learn a trade. The wise grew richer not by luck, but by constantly improving their skills and judgment. The same is true today. The lottery winner who goes broke in 5 years proves that money without wisdom vanishes. The immigrant who arrives with nothing but knowledge and grit often builds a fortune in a single generation. When you invest in yourself, your skills, your discipline, your mindset, you create a wealth machine that never runs dry. Markets may crash. Jobs may disappear. But what you carry in your mind and habits can never be taken from you. Money can slip through your fingers. But knowledge, once gained, multiplies forever and makes sure your purse never stays empty for long. And with that, let's bring all of Babylon's timeless wisdom together. The Richest Man in Babylon isn't just a dusty book of parables, it's a survival guide for money, one that's just as true today as it was 4,000 years ago. Here are its 7 timeless lessons. 1. Pay yourself first. Wealth begins with what you keep. 2. Live below your means. Discipline beats desire. 3. Make your money multiply. Every dollar is an employee. Put it to work. 4. Protect your wealth. Avoid the one mistake that wipes you out. 5. Plan for the future. Today's seeds are tomorrow's shade. 6. Be an owner. Consumers buy things, owners buy freedom. 7. Invest in yourself, because knowledge is the one treasure that compounds forever. And here's the ultimate truth. Wealth has never been about luck or showing off. It's about habits. Small, timeless habits practiced every single day. So ask yourself, am I spending like Babylon's poor, or saving, investing, and building like Babylon's richest? Because in the end, the richest people aren't the ones with the most gold. They're the ones with walls of protection, streams of income, skills that never fade, and above all, the freedom to live life on their own terms. If this breakdown helped you, hit the like button so more people discover it, and subscribe to Minecraft for weekly deep dives into the timeless rules of wealth. And if you want to go even deeper, check out my video on the psychology of money. If the richest man in Babylon is about the laws of wealth, the psychology of money is about the mindset behind it. And together, they'll completely change how you think about money. This is Minecraft, where ideas become action, and action becomes your future.